Hello, everybody. Get rid of that stupid thing. Let's get going. We have a lovely new program ahead, and so let's talk about what that's all going to be related to. We're doing everything here will be at jollyrogerukulele.com, and that's where you're going to go pick up the sheet music and all this stuff. Next couple weeks, we've got sort of a complicated plan. Um, well, I guess it'll be next couple of months, probably, how long this is going to go on. But we're going to try to keep it fascinating and interesting for everybody as we go along. Today, we're going to be revisiting how and why we play arpeggios. And then we're also going to be doing the 3 songs that I had as a part of the baritone version called that we call it Elvis. I'm going to call it Elvis medley, something like that. Elvis medley for baritone. And what we're going to be doing is revisiting all of those for both baritone and for ukulele. And then by the end of the week, we'll be able to combine it into an Elvis medley for ukulele and one for baritone. And it'll be very lovely. So we'll have that. And then on Thursday, we have that's some more will also show up. So then I'm cleaning up the arpeggios, and this we will see if I am able to continue all week at the pace I'm setting, but we're going to do what I can. And then I also want to talk about tonight. We have some really nice songs that I've gotten started on. I haven't obviously finished everything, but we're going to hopefully we'll have 3 pretty solid tunes for tonight, and then that'll keep everybody out of trouble. All right, so there I am. Let me go tweet this. https://jollyrogerukulele.com. We are, it's 104. We'll start here in just a minute or two. Whoops, no, I don't want to do that one. Get rid of that. Good. GIF. Oh, I got to download our new little thing here. Let me go here. Go up here. We got a new little picture at the top of the page. Save the image as Kick Your Fanny Arpeggios. Save. Now we can tweet that. All right. New image. Kick Your Fanny Arpeggios. Oh, sweet. And tweet. Aw, that's really nice. All right, let's kind of proud of that picture. All right, let's see who's logging in here. Sorry, I look a mess. I ran out of time this morning to shave. Obviously, I ran out of time to shave on Saturday and Sunday as well. So you're looking at this. Earlier in harmonica class, the screen froze, so they didn't have to actually look at me. They were just like, "Yeah, we'll just treat it as a podcast." And nobody seemed to object overly to that. They couldn't see my beautiful face. Who's here? Lynn is here. It's snowing like crazy up in the Northeast today. Lynn is with us for the foreseeable future because she'll have to go out and shovel out of her house. Lynn is here locally. It looks like a nice day outside. It's not terrible, but we have all these clouds, and so it probably looks less warm than it is. So, yeah. Sandy, sound is good. Not froze up yet. 34 degrees. Okay, so Sandy in Upper Michigan is having better weather than New Jersey. Brandon's in from California. Everything's perfect in California. Vic is in from Eugene. It's kind of cloudy up there. Not too rainy today, apparently. Pauline, you are no longer I am no longer. I know Pauline, and we came to harmonica class, and I froze like this. And when you play harmonica, you have this sad look in your eyes because you're busy trying to remember the lyrics, right? So you're got this. I was frozen like this, and sound was fine. My face was frozen. So, not that what are you gonna do? Jack is in from Illinois after 12 inches of snow. Nice job. Way to go, Jack. Jack, do you have a snowblower? Does everybody in the Midwest have a snowblower? I would guess, right? If you have a house, you probably have to. Linda, a little static. Uh-oh, ready to play. All right, is anybody else hearing static? I don't know if I can do much about it at this point. If it's bad, we'll have to restart. Linda, ready to play. Have my tea. I'm drinking an orange spice tea. So it's made by a company called Gooder Earth, and it's delicious. Although my wife has caffeine and no caffeine in there, and I never know which one I'm getting. I assume that for the most part she's giving me the no caffeine stuff because she thinks I have had enough of that. Whoa, Kay is here. Kay, what are you doing here? Good to see you. Ronnie, aloha from New Mexico. Clear 62. Nice day down in New Mexico. Clay, good afternoon. In from Santa Rosa. Good to see you, Clay. Fran. Yeah, we'll see, Fran. Christine, looking good. Yeah, see, Christina was there as well. So, Marianne, good to see you. Sunny in Michigan. Elizabeth is in from Northern Colorado. Evelyn, screen isn't frozen. It was kind of funny. It was like, and then the sound kept going fine. Patty is here today. She's local. Linda is in from California. She broke her wrist, so she's just hanging out with us. Carol is in from Western Colorado. Not too cold, right? We're having a decent day in Colorado. Pam in from Connecticut. Let's see. Still snowing and blowing in Connecticut. Definitely avoiding shuffling. You're not going to get out of it, Pam. It sounds like you're getting it for real. Kari's here today. Janice is also in from rainy 68 degrees Fahrenheit in Sydney. So summertime in Sydney, not quite as well. We want it to rain in Australia a lot. Last year was pretty rough. Barbara is here. She's local. Pam is here. No static. Okay, so static. It sounds like it's just static is on you, Linda. Laurel is here. Patty says it sounds fine. Vic says the sound is good. Lynn, all right. Cindy's in. Jacqueline's in. Linda. Okay, so just prior to us proceeding on our study of arpeggios, let me just point out, Linda is sitting out there looking out, and the whales in Maui are jumping up out of the water. So it's basically the same as what's going on in New Jersey, more or less, right? Right? It's not fair. Guys, let me give you a quick overview of my plans for the next couple weeks. So on your sheet this morning, I said, don't print anything below this line. Seriously, don't print anything below that line until give me a little bit of time. I worked as fast as I could this weekend, and I got a setup for today. I got a workflow in process. I think everything I'm doing makes sense, but I wanted to get through today to make sure that things make sense. And then I will. But if it says don't print anything below here, don't print anything below that, right? There'll be a few things that show up that you don't need, that you do or don't need. If you are a ukulele player, you probably do want to print out the baritone solo parts, but you do not need to print out the baritone ensemble parts. That stuff is set up specifically to play with ukulele players, and ukulele players will never develop ensemble stuff for you to play with baritones. That's why we have you print out both the solo for baritone and ukulele. Second thing that's going on this week is that we're going to focus in on our really understanding how and why, or focusing on why Gary's such a psycho about arpeggios, what it is that's going to help you as a player, and how you can use that, this arpeggio of decorative notes being added in, so that it's just part of what you do. It's not something you think about. When I sit down and play a piece of music, I don't think about, should I add decoration or not add decoration. I add decoration, and it isn't a question of how do I add a decoration. I know that it's going to come from an arpeggio related to the chord every single time. And that is true if you watch musicians all over the world when they're doing their thing, with the exception of high-level advanced jazz players who really focus in on scales. Everybody else is playing decorations from the chord, and that's why arpeggios are important. Next, it teaches your right hand, and then it doesn't really matter what chord you're holding over here. Then the other thing I want to work on this week is the next 2 weeks is giving you a bunch of love songs so that you can sing to your sweetheart. And the other thing I will mention, we spent a full month on 11 arrangements, and we got pretty good at them, right? I think that everybody really improved. Everybody felt like that was valuable time spent. Now, we're not going to spend a ton of time on the love songs, but what we are going to do is take that attitude of, hey, if we spent a month on a song, you might really end up with something. And to that extent, in the Monday night class, I'm going to be pushing jazz for the next few months, and I don't have a ton of tolerance for novelty jazz, but I do like the old jazz standards. And so I'm going to be cleaning that stuff up. I got some of it that I've done over the years, and some of it, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm going to be putting it together in nice, neat packaged form for you for both baritone and for ukulele. So Monday nights is for members only. So if you have not gotten a membership to the website, just go in and read. Click the tab on the ukulele on the site and says subscribe. Read about what it is. It's super cheap, and I think that you want to be a part of that. It will make playing in jazz get you some chords you don't run into on a daily basis, and sort of it doesn't necessarily neatly tuck together like "Love Me Tender." Tucks together. Everything is exactly what you'd expect. But in jazz, they mess around with us a little bit. And while we won't be working at that high level jazz where you are just able to improvise, I will give you a lot of techniques that make you sound very jazzy and to give you an opportunity to add decoration so it sounds like you're improvising. And so that's my plan for the next couple of weeks. The arpeggio book, I am intending on rewriting from top to bottom. And you today have the first 2 pages of that because I'm going to add in baritone for all that. The book will end up being 150 some pages. And so just be patient with me as I keep throwing that stuff at you. And I do think there's about 3 typos in the jumping flare arpeggiator that I want to fix. And so in order to fix those 3 typos, I'm going to rewrite everything. So not really rewrite it, but clean it all up. And so we've got a lot of positive sort of technical stuff that we're going to be doing, but I'm going to make sure that you have a song, some pretty songs each day to be building and to be practicing those skills that you're using with. After Valentine's Day, then we will switch over to Celtic music, and a lot of you guys have sent me ideas on either Irish or Scottish tunes, and I'll be digging into those. I've got a handful of them done, and we'll do even more, and we'll do that for a while. So at least through St. Patrick's Day, that's right? And is St. Patrick's Day a thing in Sydney? I don't know. Do they know? I don't know if that's a thing in Australia or not. Let's see. Chris is here. Amy. No whales there, but she's at the bald eagle. We've been having some bald eagles, getting more and more comfy with being in town. Hey, Kat, Diane, Valerie. Dog finally forgave her for playing harmonica. Arlo's in, Vicky's in, Red is in, and Kari is in. Awesome. Okay, so let's take a look at, you got some newer, some things. So first thing I want to do is I want to look at the Arpeggio Prep page, and I want to look at the ukulele version first. Okay, so grab that piece of paper. That's a brand new, it's not a brand new, I've had it for a long time, I just never hand it out. And so it's the Arpeggio Prep. That's the one I want you to pull up, please. And if I go to the right folder, I will be able to pull it up too. Download ukulele Arpeggio Prep. Those of you guys who are filing stuff in your computers or in your iPads, everything I'm going to be doing with the Arpeggio book will be numbered. I'm putting fake page numbers on them now so that when I'm all done, it will be much faster and to put the final page numbers on them. Right now, I'm not 100% sure how much introductory material and how much teaching material is going to end up in the book. So it will end up in your computer by numbers, and they'll all be at the top. So let's look at the Arpeggio Prep. And we're looking at the ukulele version. So baritone players, for the moment, you need to know your other shapes, okay? So for baritone, I'll grab a baritone so that it looks more official. On baritone, you need to look at the C chord is that shape, right? Your A minor chord, you're just going to add in your ring finger underneath there. Your F chord, bar on one, E shape in front. That's your F. Okay. Your G chord is right there. That one's convenient. G7 is right here. Okay. And then, of course, C chord is back here. So when we play the C arpeggios, you have to hold the correct shape. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing. Ukulele players, these are your 4 chords. All of you guys are comfy with that. I feel pretty confident in saying that. What we want to do is we're going to be talking about why these chords. Okay, so just the first line, grab your chords. Let's do the arpeggio pattern, and don't go too fast because when you have to hit the ring twice, it messes you up. From the top, just the first line. Ready, play. Ring out for the full time. What we're working on here, we're working on 2 things. Number one, the standard notation, just a heads up, the standard notation here is for low G ukulele, and I think you could probably ignore it. The only difference is when you hit your top string on a high G, that note is an octave higher than it's shown on the standard notation. So don't lose sleep over that. What is if you don't, and you guys that are low G players with a little bit of experience, or I'm sorry, those of you who are high G players with a little bit of experience, you know if that note shows up and it doesn't exist on your instrument, you have to play the higher octave of that. We do that in orchestra all of the time. When we run into, we're busy orchestrating, blah, 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 and you get to a point where it starts to go way too high up on the neck, we just drop it an octave and play it down there. Nobody has ever once come up to me and said, hey, you didn't go all the way up the neck. The only time that happens is when I get a new arranger who's wanting to try a new song, and they'll turn in sheet music where people are playing up on the 15th and 17th fret because they're not prepared to drop it an octave, and they're not sure where and how to do that. Same thing with going down low. In this case, if you're playing the standard notation and you see that first note's a G and that G doesn't even exist on your instrument, you're like, oh, well, I got to move that up a G. Well, guess where it is? Right there on top. Okay, so don't lose sleep over the standard notation. I left it for low G ukulele on this piece of paper. That will not be true on the other arpeggios. Here's why I want to talk about this. Just take the C chord. Okay, one pattern. Okay, thumb, index, middle, ring, followed immediately by ring, middle, index, thumb. The challenge with this is you're going to hit your ring twice, and you have to keep the pacing steady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or if we're counting it the way teachers tell us we're supposed to, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That turnaround there is surprisingly challenging. And so you want to be making sure, with arpeggios, it's not about how fast you play them. It really is not. It's about how steady and smooth you play. It's all eighth notes on this entire page. And so you just want to get where they're all equal. Now, let me give you some high-level thinking. One of the strings you're playing with your thumb. One you're playing with your index finger in a different direction. One you're playing with your middle finger in that upward direction. And this last one you're playing with your ring finger in that upward direction. all of those are going to need to be, unless you get other instructions on your sheet music, they need to be equal in temperament. So we don't want to have our thumb be real heavy and then these ones be real light, and then this third one be kind of lagging because your ring finger is dumb. Your goal is keeping them steady and keeping them paced well. Okay, so I blew my G, I go back and try it again. So that's one of your goals in the Arpeggio Prep arena, is to play things where they make sense. Okay, so baritone players, you're going to be looking at, you're going to be accompanying us. You're going to be doing exactly the same pattern, but your chord shapes are different. So your chord inversion, there's guys out there selling you chord inversion classes on ukulele. All that is bar chords. All that is playing a different shape of the same chord. And so you're going to be doing a different inversion. Baritone players, you're going to be doing with your baritone chords, C, A minor, F, G, G7, and C. Ukulele players, you're going to be plucking this out smooth, steady, try to get everybody the same volume, and try to get everything where it's absolutely perfect, right? These are studies, and you'll see in just a second, you'll see why it's important. Okay, so let's do it from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. You also want to be a little careful not to linger too long on that last eighth note while you're getting ready to put your chord on, and then you want to let it run. Okay. Notice in your sheet music you have a repeat at the beginning and end of every single line here, so you're supposed to play everything twice, and we'll be working on that over the week. That's what I would like to see, and just in a minute, as soon as we do the baritone version of this, you will see why these chords are what they are, because we're going to learn a little music theory this week as well. Okay, now I'm going to play the same exact arpeggio. Ukulele players, keep your shapes. Baritone players, you're keeping your shape. Let's play the same exact line. Let's play it just one time through. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's also okay if you want to just pluck that last chord. If you're going to be late getting your strum in, I do like you to practice both, because the business of going from your claw position to a strum position, you already know it comes up all of the time. So we're only going to work on this one line, but as the week goes on, tomorrow I want to do the G1, I want to do the D1, the A1, and the F1. Baritone, so that's on the ukulele page. Now go grab the baritone version of the same sheet of paper. And baritones, they've got G chord. To get the exact same positioning as we just did for ukulele, we converted it into a G chord. So ukulele players, here's your G chord. Okay, hopefully you're comfy with that. Your E minor is this god-awful thing, right? 2, 3, 4, a little stair-steppy here. Okay, that's your E minor. Okay, ukulele, C chord, lovely. By the way, when I'm playing in the key of G and that C chord comes up, I'm often ending up with my middle finger here, especially if E minor is doing it. Pretty fine to drop it down, play with your middle finger. Okay, your D chord, bum, 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 bum. This is how you know if you have the right size ukulele. Is this easy for you? Okay, notice I have tons of room. I got kind of a little bit thinner fingers, and I got tons of room on a baritone. They fit very nicely on a tenor, but when I start getting into a concert or a soprano, I start getting kind of cramped in that space. Okay, D7 for you guys. Just lift up your finger here, okay, to get your D7, and then you're going to finish up on G chord. Okay, so those are your chords. you're going to do the same pattern in your right hand. Baritone players, we're going to play the chords as shown from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that nice? Okay. Now let's talk about really why this matters. On this piece of paper, you can write you could write one song 5 different ways, or 5 different songs, or you could write all of the songs ever written in the history of Western civilization. Think about this. If I'm on baritone and I'm taking those 4 chords, or 5 chords on that top line, here's what I end up with. Heard that song before, right? You've heard it 1,000 times. Every single song from 1950 to 1963, right? If I take the ukulele version of it, I have the same exact thing. Okay, so what we're having here is a moment where you think about how are songs built? And if you take your hand out, okay, we're going to do this, okay? First chord is either a C or a G, right? So well, I'm going to do this right for you. It's either a C or a G. Put whichever one you want on this finger. If it's a C, then you go D. There's no D's in the C version of this. There's no E's in the C version of this. There is an F. There is a G or a G7, both of those, right? And then there's an A minor hanging out over here. 1, 4, 5, 6. 1, 4, 5, 6. Okay. That's how you write music when you get started. Okay. If you are on the G version, if you have the baritone version, G, A, B, C, G, C, D or D7, and E minor hanging out over here. Okay. Now you can write a song. Let me give you one last little thought about that. These are called the principal chords in the key of whatever, and it's always 1, 4, 5, and 6 minor. And so if I take this the G chord from the baritone, and I add the A minor, and I add the C, and the D, finish up on D7, you finish up on a 7th to create tension to get back to the main chord. I've got a song from, Duke of Earl. But I could also, I don't have to necessarily do them in that order. I could start with E minor maybe. C, G, D. And you get those types of, you don't have to use them in that order, but you can use them in whatever order. The only rule really is when you get to D7, you're probably going to go back to the main chord. You're probably not. You might go to another chord to be surprising or unexpected. But for lots of you guys are learning to play ukulele, a handful of you are going to be like, you know what? I don't really need to be playing other people's music for the rest of my life. Maybe I'll make my own music. And I know any number of you guys have written songs over the time. And so be thoughtful about, if you're thinking about, hey, I want to start really understanding music theory. Gary has given me 5 separate, 5 separate key arrangements. I can take each line and turn it into a song. Okay, so if I'm on my ukulele and I got C, A minor, F, and G, or somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll write that song and maybe people will like it, right? That's what we're working on there. I use C, what did I do? C, G, and F. I got lucky. I can never remember how that song goes. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high there. I don't remember when you go to A minor, but you see what's going on there? That worked out pretty good for whoever wrote that. What was it? So this week we're going to go through each of these on each day to spend a little bit of time really focusing in on having good technique on your right hand, understanding which chords go together to create entire musical thoughts. And then when we put those all together, then you've really got something. And you can add words or not add words, whatever. But we want to get full control over this hand. And the way we start is just with thumb, index, middle, ring, followed by ring, middle, index, thumb. That's how we start with arpeggio picking. Arpeggio picking gets a lot more complicated, and that's what my full book is. But this will at least give you a pretty decent start on that. Janice says parades and green beer flows. So they're serious about St. Patrick's Day in Australia too. I don't want to be. I don't want to exclude anybody in that. So good. Australia's on board. Elizabeth, the Arpeggio Prep pages are great, and if you delete the 4th, 8th note in each group, you have triplets. Oh yeah, right. There you go. Okay, so you can mess around with that. Playing a question on applying Tuff uke. I don't really understand what the arpeggios are. Are they repeating each key over and over until it's grounded in your head? A little bit, Q. Here's what I'm really grinding into your head. Let's say I'm going to play 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. Instead, why don't I play 3 blind mice? 3 blind mice. Now I'm sounding pretty fancy, right? Now let me start mixing this up a little bit. 3 blind mice. Right? So then because I've got right hand skills, I can start making it fancier and goofier. 3 blind mice. Or 3 blind mice. Arpeggios are not, they're designed as decoration. All you're doing, in that case, I'm just holding a C chord, 3 blind mice, which is what you do when you go to your ukulele strum along, right? 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. That's what you do when you're getting started. When you get a little better, you start doing, Gary says, do this. 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. Sounds pretty nice. Keep the peace. Then Gary says, well, use your claw. 3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. Nothing is ever changing over here. Then if I say, all right, fine. What if I do 3 blind mice? Or what if I start on my thumb? 3 blind mice. Don't use my ring finger at all. Okay? Or what if I combine this with this? 3 blind mice. Okay. And a lot of you guys have heard of Travis picking and all these other arpeggio systems. If it's me, my tendency is 3 That's just a pattern, but and when I'm restringing ukuleles, I end up playing that arpeggio pattern all the time. I just think it sounds nice. But you want to just, again, you're messing around with this. This Arpeggio Prep page is to get you to try to make your thumb equal to your ring. That's really what these particular patterns are, trying to get everything equal. Then I'm giving you the chords that go together in that particular piece of music. Okay, so we'll be working some more on this Arpeggiator Prep. When it comes to adding this into a Tuff uke arrangement, or even just a regular ukulele arrangement, you will take these moments when you have a half note or a dotted half note or a whole note, and you will just put extra notes in there based on the chord you're holding and based on what skill set you have with your right hand. A lot of times it's just dragging your thumb down over them, but sometimes, you can go through and pick something fancy, and so you'll see how that we'll continue to kind of remind you guys and think about that as we go along. Let's talk now about, let's go ahead and grab the ukulele version, key of C arpeggio. Let's go grab that one first. Key of C major. Okay. Now, all you guys had this one in Intro to Ukulele. So, or Foundations, I'm going to call it because it sounds fancier. The problem with Intro to Ukulele is you assume that there's a intermediate and advanced ukulele, and there's no such thing. So, Foundation says, here's the stuff you need. Okay. Everything else is just above that. Let's grab your key of C major, jumping the arpeggiator for ukulele. Okay. Baritone players, you have the same exact situation. You're going to be either adding in your C chord is shaped like this, of course, and you're either adding in something like this. Maybe you're doing the same pattern with us and just holding a different chord. Maybe you're plucking. You're doing something to augment what we're doing. Those of you guys that have been with me a while, you've done this piece already. Those of you who are newer, this is something that is I feel like this is this foundation for what's really going to be your advanced ukulele playing. Okay, so let's play through this. There is a repeat at the front, and we're going to ignore that. Okay, so just play the first page and then go move on to the second page. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding your full chord. Hold the full chord. Full chord. Page 2. Two, three, 4. Two, three, 4. Every note should be equal. Trying to get everybody equal. And now, where would you have had a place to put in some of your arpeggio skills? Look at measure 24. Measure 24 says 2, 3, 4. Is there anything that would have prevented you from going or okay, same thing at 26. You drop in that G7. That's when your arpeggio skills start to play a role in tough uke arrangements. Is you're like, I got a half note or a whole note on measures 24 and 28. I can do what the paperwork says. 2, 3, 4. Or I could possibly, if I'm being creative, or how about this? Put on your other G7. Okay, if you're fast enough, you might be able to do something like that. But it gives you, I'm not telling you to do it on these. I'm just telling you, it gives you an opportunity to try adding stuff in just by holding the chord and plucking some extra strings. Let's go do the baritone. This is in G now, the baritone version. Ukulele players, you're switching to the baritone version in G. Your chord set is obviously changed. You're going to be using what amounts to a little bit more complicated chords. On ukulele, remember, you got G chord, D chord, C chord, D7, and E minor. Okay, those are your chords. Okay, let's play the baritone version of it. Same skill set, just in a different key. One, and when I get to measures 24 and 28, I'm going to arpeggiate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, let me try. Get on the right string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next page. Last thought on these arpeggios was, you know how we talked about the principal chords in a key? These entire songs are built just off of those chords. When I sat down to write this stuff, I was probably 5 years into writing music, and I knew all I got to do is take those main 5 chords, mix them up, come up with some creative ways to do my right hand, and all of a sudden I have a pretty decent sounding little tune. Okay, so we're going to continue diving into arpeggios over the next few months, really, in order to get through all of them. We're going to go all the way through the entire Jumping Flea Arpeggiator. So most of you guys have done the first 5. Lots of you have done the first 10. Almost none of you have done all 30. And by the time you get to number 30, you are a bar chord demon, and you are absolutely understanding how music works. And when you add in chords that don't belong into a song, how that affects it, and you're like, whoa, that really makes a big difference. So the year is incorrect on the revision date for this one. Is it? Okay. Thank you, Laurel. In 2021, I'm still in 2020 probably. So thank you for catching that. Yeah, and by the way, because this is the plan is ultimately to publish this book, and you guys will end up accidentally owning the book just by doing one piece at a time. But if you do see typos or whatever, please don't hesitate to let me know about that. Now, we have one last thing we got to do, and we're only going to do the ukulele side of this because baritone players have been playing this all along. Let's see. Laurel, Linda says, as a uke player, I'm just playing 4 beats on the chord. Should I copy the same finger and arpeggio on the chords? No, Linda. You should do what sounds the best. When you are accompaniment, could you copy the fingering? Sure. Could you just strum 4 beats? Sure. Could you pluck 4 beats? Could you? You want to feel like, and this is something that I work on not nearly enough with people, is I say it because I'm like wildly arty farty in my head, that I assume everybody's like that, and that's not necessarily the case. The one thing that I can tell you is newer musicians or musicians who've been around a while, if you took piano lessons, what did your piano teacher tell you? Do exactly what's on the paper. That's what you tell little kids, right? As an adult, they tell you, do what's on the paper as best you can, right? That's what they tell you. But as an artist, what sounds the best? What can you do? Try it this way? The way you accompany somebody this year will be very different than the way you accompany them 2 years from now. And so find a way that makes sense to you. And if that's playing the same pattern, do it. If that's not playing the same pattern, do it. If it's just strumming, do it. You have to decide ultimately as a musician what's going to make this piece come alive. And so for a lot of us, we are in that situation where we don't feel super comfortable with that yet. And I keep telling, I had a tirade a couple of weeks back, there are no rules. Where you put your thumb is the only rule, right? Even that is probably have some level of squishiness around the edge of the ruleness. Whatever makes your experience as a player wonderful and the ultimate sound beautiful, that's what I want you to be working on. You're going to be doing tons of arpeggios and on your sheet music. As an accompanist, you want to be that next level of smart, saying, all right, how are we going to make this happen? What's going to happen where we are sounding beautiful? And so last person I was playing some music with, Christy, she's a guitar player, and we were doing some, in fact, we were doing some stuff we're going to be doing in a harmonica class of all things, but we were working on some Irish tunes. One Irish tune and two Scottish tunes. And depending on the section, sometimes I was taking the lead, sometimes she was taking the lead, but then we would go through and try it one way. If it sounded good, we kept it. If it didn't sound so good, we tried another way. And that's what you should be doing too, is, I played it this way yesterday. It sounded pretty good. I'm sticking with that. Make yourself a note on the paper, right? So there's that. Cindy says, this is an excellent class and a real challenge for me, which I love. Yay, excellent. So the idea here, guys, and we didn't get to everything here today. I'll give you some prep for tomorrow. We spent a long time on that, the prep course, because what the prep page is going to do is get you thinking about everything has to be equal, everything has to be clean, everything has to be notated, sound equal, right? That's what the page says. And then you're thinking about these chords go together. And then I give you an example of that here with the actual arpeggios out of the book. Now, pushing you toward artistry, right? A lot of musicians are very good at doing what the paper says to do. Lots of them, right? What separates a person from what's on the paper versus that next level? I have listened to probably 1,000 versions of Beethoven's Waldstein Sonata. It's unbelievable. But I can't remember her name. I can't remember her last name. Mari Kodama, I think is her name, did a version of that I think is 10 times better than all of the other ones. Well, how is that? Because she took it to another level where I hadn't heard about it, and really brought a whole bunch of power to it. Very diminutive little pianist making this gigantic sound out of her piano. That's how Beethoven probably would have wanted it, right? And so how does one person make it sound? And that depends on you, and that's you taking what's on the paper and seeing, all right, still the song, what can I do to make it better? And so that's one thing I want you to work on. Now let's talk about the other stuff we didn't get to today, but we will get to it tomorrow, because we won't spend any time we'll spend very little time talking about arpeggios going forward. We're going to be doing them. Okay. Tonight I will get posted up the revised version of G for ukulele and D for baritone, but I want you to go through and grab Love Me Tender. Ukulele people, we're going to keep it, we're going to be creating an Elvis medley for ukulele solo by going through this Love Me Tender, tomorrow's Can't Help Falling in Love with You, and Wednesday's Aloha Oi. And then by Thursday, probably Friday morning, I will post a version of those three pieces stuck together in exactly the same way that we did for baritone. And so what you want to be looking at now that you have some arpeggio skills is, hey, if I take this melody and I start adding in some extra decorative notes, what does that look like? How does that sound? I will probably make very few changes on the sheet music, but you as a performer can think, hey, I like exactly what I'm looking at. I'm not changing anything. Or you could be thinking, what I'm looking at is it turns out it's not that much of that song. So just very quickly before I let you go. Love Me Tender starts off. Right, that's how it starts. Well, as a performer, I'm thinking, well, would it sound better if I did this? Maybe, maybe not. Would it sound better if I added in some extra decorative notes? And now that I know I can just hold the chord, okay, some of it sounds okay, some of it sounds kind of dumb. But that's what we're going to be doing with arpeggios, is taking your basic Tuff uke and then seeing when and where you might augment it with your personal style of approaching it, as breaking up those chords and adding in extra things that are not necessarily written on the paper. So tomorrow we will dig further into Love Me Tender. We'll also get going on Can't Help Falling in Love. By the end of the week goal is we'll have Elvis medley for baritone and Elvis medley for ukulele. So that's where we're headed right now. This is a lot for one class, guys. I talked way more than I meant to talk, but I think you need to get a good foundation for this, and then for the rest of the week we will be turning it into not quite improvising, but kinda. Okay, so there we go. That's what I know. That's all I know. All right. Stick with me this week, guys. Don't give up because I talked too much today, because the rest of the week we will be playing more and more and more. We got to get all these love songs done so that you're ready for Valentine's Day. All right. Let's see. Linda. Okay. You like it? Okay. When Linda's got a choice of watching the whales or listening to me, and she's making the wrong choice, just to let you know. Evelyn, yeah, you bet, Evelyn. Thanks for being here. And Vicky, so happy. Yeah, the arpeggios, guys, I swear to goodness, playing melody, far and away the most important thing you can do on this instrument. Playing arpeggios, number 2. Yeah. Number 3 is getting together with people. All right. Thanks, Kat. Good to see you. Marianne, good to see you. Linda, Lynn, get that shovel out, Lynn. Renee, have a great day. Kari, good to see you. Melissa, really helpful. Might even listen to the archive. Yeah, heck yeah. Listen to the everything I said today was pure gold. Bam, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Jacqueline, good to see you. Elizabeth, you're welcome. Nancy, great class. I'm going to put the sheet music under my pillow tonight. By the end of the week, it'll be no big deal, right? Is that kind of a newer skill that we're diving into? By the end of the week, it'll be nothing. Sandy, good to see you. Chris, you're welcome. Valerie, you're welcome. Lynn. Yeah. By the way, your musicians, these are like your surgeon hands. If snow needs to be shoveled, you have to find somebody else to do it, because you can't risk ruining these for your musical career. So I tell my wife I can't put the dishes away because I might cut myself. That doesn't last very long. All right, Fran, good to see you. Janice, so good to have you here. Yeah, jazz tonight, guys. Don't forget, we got jazz starting tonight. I don't have all the sheet music posted yet, so I'll get as much as I can up before then. And so show up maybe half hour early to print out what I can actually get up there. All right, and if you're not a member of the website, go click on subscribe on Jolly Roger Ukulele and read about it. It's good stuff, guys. So yeah, give it some thought. Give it a thought. Clay, good to see you, my man. Brandon as well. Work on those arpeggios. It's going to come out to be a good thing for you. I do promise. I do. I really promise. Sam, thanks for subscribing. Pam, yeah, get the kids to shovel. That's what my parents did. My parents, we had this Mondo, super scary, super dangerous snow plow. What do you call it? What's the thing? Snow removal thingamabopper. Had these giant augers in front, and they used to leave me alone as a 12-year-old running that thing. How I didn't lose my arm, I don't know. Yeah, you know what, Linda, I don't think it's unimportant. The longer you play, even if you have the same ukulele, it starts sounding better because your skills start to go better. You start thinking about your own personal tonality. I am amazed to watch students when they come into an intro class, what they sound like on day one versus what they sound like on day 6 is incredible, you know, and what you guys that have been putting in the time, you're starting to get some subtlety and some flair and some of you coming into the art. It's very exciting. You should probably be sounding better. I like the girl from Ipanema. I did Summertime. I did Summertime. Summertime was on the site. I'm making some adjustments to it, Brandon. It'll be there. It will. I'll get it there. I don't remember. It might be in the. It might be. We might have done it, and it might still be in the member section. You might go check that. I don't remember. The snowblower. Oh, Corona brain. Yeah, it had these big old, like you see at the and we would throw the snow. We'd shovel it because we get big snows back in those days. We'd shovel the snow and then throw it into the auger, and it would shoot it off. No, yeah. Moonglow's coming, Sydney. That's definitely on the list. All right. And summertime. Did I add summertime on the list? I'm not sure if I did or not. So, all right, guys. Tonight we can talk about what other songs you want to be. But Cindy, I know that Moonglow is on there, and I can't remember if Summertime is on there. Summertime, I have a tendency to think of that more as a Broadway tune than a jazz tune. But it's a little like Smile, isn't it? Did I add that to the list? I'll find out. All right. Have a wonderful day. I'll see some of you tonight. I'll see the rest of you tomorrow. And hey, put Smile on, but not Summertime. Yeah, we can talk about whether you want Summertime or not, too. All right, guys. Going to pull a plug. Have a wonderful day. Brandon says, it's still wintertime. Can't do summertime. It's out. Winter. Talk to you later.